Welcome back to another episode of Inner Worlds, where we explore the mystical, the spiritual, and the esoteric paths that lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our universe. I'm your host, Leeor, and today we have such a special returning guest, astrologer, past life regression therapist, and teacher, Galit Raiman. Galit has been on the podcast twice before and on the YouTube channel as well, and she's one of the most requested return guests. So if you don't already know and love her, by the end of this, you will. Galit is a gifted astrologer who has practiced for decades, and she believes that all the answers to life's most important questions are written and can be found in the stars. She also often talks to her clients and her audience on Instagram and YouTube about following our soul's purpose, and that's what I wanted to talk to her about today on this season of Inner Worlds, as we talk about these massive concepts of life, death, and rebirth. In today's episode, we will talk about evolutionary astrology, what it says about past lives, karma, how we grow as a soul through different lifetimes. She'll also share about her work as a past life regression therapist in the past, and currently possibly, and also on how to integrate our past life insights for our growth in this lifetime. So settle in, open your heart, and join us as we journey inwards to explore our soul's past lives.
Hallelujah. I love that, Leori. Thank you.
You like that intro, my love? Welcome back, my love, to Inner Worlds.
Thank you, Leori. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So happy you're here. For anybody who's audio only, Galit is looking absolutely beautiful, and she's joining us from Hawaii, where she just thrives over there. And I'm so happy to have you back on. As I said in the intro, you're the most requested return guest to Inner Worlds, and seeing as how you're my literal family, and I listen to your astrological insights daily, I was more than happy to oblige our listeners and get to talk to you for an afternoon. So how are you, my love? How is Hawaii?
I'm doing great. I love Hawaii. You know, it's a vortex, and this one is a feminine vortex with a lot of amazing grounding qualities as much as inner qualities. It's beautiful. I just came back from Sedona, that you love so much, right?
So much.
It's different vortexes, they bring out different qualities within ourselves, and we can connect in different ways to ourselves. So I love vortexes.
Totally.
So I love Hawaii.
Oh yeah. And you feel it so strongly in Hawaii. I remember when I was in Maui, how deeply I felt it. And also Sedona, and you're right, it's different vortex energy for sure. I just know that whenever you're in those places, in those vortices, and in the surrounding areas, I feel so expansive and so creative and so in tune. And it's such a blessing for anyone who gets to live in or near a vortex like that. So that's really cool.
Very true. Very true.
Since your last visit on the show, a lot has changed. A lot has happened in the world. And you're thriving with your very own beautiful community on YouTube and Instagram. And you've also become a grandma.
Yay!
To anybody who doesn't know, Galit is my niece's grandma.
So true. We share a family connection to that beautiful little granddaughter of mine, and I love her so
perfect.
Much. It's such an honor to be a grandma. It's a different experience than being a mom. I love being a mom to begin with, but I love being a grandma as well. It's mine, but it's not mine. It's my daughter's, right? And I can see the DNA going into that granddaughter, but then it's also your brother's DNA. So it's a combination. Yeah. It's so beautiful. It's such a profound feeling to be.
Beautiful. And she's perfect. And that's what I was going to ask you. How has this impacted like your sense of self, especially knowing, and I might butcher this, but you know, being pregnant myself, I'm reading a lot about pregnancy. And I learned that female fetuses basically have all their eggs intact. So basically, your granddaughter was at some point inside of you.
That's mind-boggling, isn't it? I know that. Yeah, it's
insane.
Think about the vibrational influence of me having on my daughter in my womb on her eggs, which one of them is that granddaughter. That is mind-boggling, and that is part of the magical biological machine that we have as a body, right? It's incredible to think how sophisticated technology this biological machine is. Yeah.
It's incredible. And it also is, it just shows how important it is for each one of us, and especially as women who carry these eggs, that who carry the future inside of us, to be spiritually tuned in and conscious and aware of our life's purpose and our life's journey, because we're carrying energetically, we're carrying the future inside of us. So that's really cool.
And I think this ties really nicely to what you and I want to talk about today. It shows the continuation. I can't say that.
You got it, my love. Continuation. We all understand what you're saying. You're perfect.
It shows how we continue, how we are a link in a chain, right? And that chain is a physical link, because we embody our ancestry, our bloodline DNA, and that is a part of what makes us who we are. But we also embody our bloodline and our ancestry, emotional, spiritual, and mental DNA. And those patterns are a part of ourselves, but also a part of the next generation. And some of those programs are great. We love them. But some of those we want to update. And that's where our work and our intention and attention should focus on in this lifetime. How do we update those programs that we don't like so much? And I think past life regression, or past life in general, ties in very well into those patterns, those karmic lessons that we bring in as we come here.
That's touching on everything I want to ask you about, and I have a lot of questions for you. Okay, you've been practicing astrology for a really long time, for most of your life, really. You've been studying, practicing, and teaching, and doing readings and collective readings. Since we're focusing on life, death, and rebirth in this season, it really works with what you've been focusing, what it seems like you're focusing on lately with your workshops and with what you're teaching, which has to do with past lives, right, with karma, and also uncovering our soul's purpose. And I want to know if you've been drawn to this specific area right now of astrology, and what kind of brought you to that.
I was always drawn to that. I just finished another beginner's course, and through the course, first I lay down the foundation of the pillars of astrology, but I end up that course with the nodes, with the lunar nodes, the north node and the south node, which represent where our soul is coming from, what are the experiences that we're bringing into this life, and what our soul's trajectory is. What does the soul wants to learn in this lifetime? And this answers the question in our chart then the question is why? Because astrology, the signs, the planets, the aspects, the houses, this is all tells us what kind of a personality we are, where are we triggered, what is our preferences, what do we want to do for work, relationship, and so forth. But why? Why do we have to experience such immense pains of growth sometimes? Why do we have to run into those friction places in our life and learn the hard way? Why can't it just be all jolly and happy? And why do we need that pain? Because this is my question to myself, was always my question. So I was always drawn to the why. And the why, most of it is past lives. Most of it is ancestry patterns. Most of it is karma that we carry through the ages. And it is being brought here so we can resolve some of it and use it as a stepping stone for the next evolutionary cycle of where we're going to. You see, our soul has its own agenda. The soul has a mission. It wants to evolve. It expands all the time. It grows all the time, like the universe is evolving. So we are on that trajectory of expansion. And the soul creates personality. And in each life, that personality experience a certain lesson, if you will. And after a while experiencing that lesson, the soul kind of got a PhD in that lesson. And the soul says, okay, you got this. Let's bring you from that area of mastership into this particular life. Let's give you this personality, Leeor or Galit, and let's have you shoot into that area which your soul have never tried before. It's like a foreign language. It's a new thing. And your soul says, this is really interesting. Let's learn that. But that is an unfamiliar territory, and it's kind of frightening. So is it going to be easy? No, we're just not used to that. It's going to be really hard. It's exactly the other side of what we have known so far. And so this is the journey, and this is the why.
Yeah. Something that I repeat all the time, that I've repeated on YouTube since 2016, is that everything is happening for us, not to us. And I think that's the explanation of why things are happening for us. It's in order to allow us to expand, right? And to learn more of our soul's mission, exactly that. So would you say that that's the point of evolutionary astrology and how it's different from other types of astrology? It's to understand our soul's journey.
Right. It's to see the continuum, to see that that we are a link in a chain, and the chain is really, really big. We can't see that far, and we can't see that far. We're just somewhere in the middle. We're at that particular timeline, a very small point in a big chain. Yeah, evolutionary astrology is interested in that bigger perspective and understanding that the soul itself has a need for self actualization. When the soul develops, it is not lingering on only on the emotional body like we do sometimes. When we feel that pain, we are in the mess of the emotions, and emotions are messy. They're thrilling as well. We love emotions. We love to feel love. We don't like to feel pain, but one does not come without the other. We live in a dual world, right? And the world of duality is black and white, yin and yang, dark and light. And so every good emotion or good feeling, every superpower that we have will have a super challenge on the other side of the same and equal strength. And so we get both. We get both. Yeah.
So are those challenges and those strengths, is that what the lunar nodes kind of show us for each person?
In a sense, yes. So the South Node in astrology represent past experiences. These are qualities that you have done before. You mastered that quality. You mastered those traits, and you come with them here. The thing is, we humans, we don't like change so much. We say we do, but we only like the change that we like, not the unexpected change. So we get crystallized with those imprints, with those programs that we bring from other life. So, for example, if you master the area of South Node in Libra, partnership, relationship, you come here knowing how to do that dance. And you'll be really good in collaborating, in bringing harmony to others. But maybe you'll be having some issues by listening to other people's definition of you, Libra, wanting to please others, Libra. Maybe you're not going to be insisting on your self-identity, the opposite, Aries. Maybe you're not going to be so courageous, Aries. You'll be more of a cooperator, a team builder. And so maybe you'll be too leaning on others, giving your power away to others. And that's what we have in the sky right now. North Node is transiting in Aries, South Node in Libra. That's why I'm speaking about that, because many people are finding their voice right now. Who am I? Not in a selfish way, but in a more defined identity placement, saying, who am I? What do I want? How do I want to be more authentic, right? The word authentic suddenly came to the forefront because the North Node is transiting through Aries, and everybody is feeling the call to be more authentic and to not buy into other people's definition of self. So life is all about balance between what we have known so much and we got so used to the new territory that we need to grow into.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Totally. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's the best way I've heard lunar nodes explained also. And it kind of feels to me like they kind of show you your blessings and curses almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't like the word curses, but it's the challenges for sure.
Challenges.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's always challenging, but then that is the growth. That's where you find what it is that you need to be doing and incorporate into your life. And it's not easy. It's not. None of us find this North Node position easy. And we're going to go through some karmic events in our life that will push us to the North Node because we are all reluctant to move there voluntarily. We usually stick with our South Node. This is what is familiar. We like familiarity. We don't like the newness of things, but we'll be pushed to the North Node position to embody those qualities in this lifetime.
And would you say that the North Node is our purpose in this lifetime? Embodying that is the purpose? Or is there something else that you look for when you when somebody's asking, what does my birth chart say about my life's purpose, my soul's purpose right now? Is
Right.
the North Node something you look at?
No, the North Node is the journey. It
Hmm.
really represents your journey. The sun, your sun, wherever it is in your chart, the sign that it occupies, the house that it occupies, the aspects that it creates, this is your purpose. That's what you came here to do. Your sun. You are not your sun sign when you're born. You're more of your moon sign. As you grow, you embody more and more of that sun of yours. And the sun wants to shine, right? So you shine like your sun eventually. So the nodes are the journey.
I remember you taught me that most people that we're like our moon, and as we grow, we are becoming. We're being our sun sign as a verb. So that's more of our souls. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, so I have some questions about evolutionary astrology. I have questions about all the topics that you brought up. They're so interesting, but I want to go theme by theme. So, from the perspective of evolutionary astrology, and I guess you already kind of explained this, that the reason why we reincarnate is to explore different aspects of ourselves. Is that kind of to get to learn different lessons and expand in different ways, right?
In a way, yeah, the soul doesn't value life as we do. I mean, there is a different perspective. The soul wants to experience everything. We are afraid of things that are painful, but the soul is less afraid. So the soul has an agenda to expand. And during other lives that we've been living, we have created some patterns. And some of those patterns created some experiences. We took some actions. Some of those were positive actions, some of those were less positive, let's say negative actions. Now, there is the concept of karma. What is karma? Karma is the realization and the implication of some negative actions that we have taken either in this life or other lives. We don't come here as a blank. You're carrying a baby right now, right? And that baby has its own life already. And that baby comes here with her own personality, but with a big past that of life that she has lived before. And so she's going to live that life. We all are living our life from a perspective that is way greater than who this personality myself right now is. And so in the beginning of life, we're those innocent children, and we are being imprinted and conditioned by our parents, by our bloodline, by our culture, whatever that may be. But we're carrying some unconscious patterns from other lives. And so slowly, slowly, those will bring into our life, we will attract the law of attraction. We will attract experiences according to the karma, to the positive and negative actions we have taken. Sometimes I see people with South Node in Aries, and I always know it's a warrior because Aries represent that warrior energy with the South Node. You've done this before. And let's say Mars is sitting there on their South Node, and I know this is probably a warrior that died in combat or out of some sort of aggression action, and they always carry this fear from being in combat or from dying in through an injury, and that's why they're carrying that fear, because it happened to them. So just imagine that little boy or girl carrying that fear, living their life in the beginning of their life as a child and being so afraid of combat or aggression. So you see, those patterns will have to be relived and re-experienced in this lifetime and reworked in order to resolve unresolved issues.
So, what is the work? How does somebody, if they discover, first of all, if somebody's experiencing these kind of challenges that are maybe coming up cyclically, like they keep showing up in different ways, maybe somebody's having really bad luck in love or finances, or they have some sort of irrational fear. Like my mom, Galit, has an irrational fear of water heaters, for example. Okay. Is that karmic work? Is that when we start to think, okay, let me look at my past life and let me integrate it somehow into this life? Is that the work here?
We all live on different consciousness levels, and it's a journey. It's a journey that we're all in, and especially now there is a big evolution and revolution in consciousness, which is great. More people are more in tune with
Waking
deeper
up.
parts of themselves. So it depends on the person, right? How much they're willing to allow themselves the exploration process. Some people are so afraid of what they're going to find there. It's like going into a dark basement. Is there a demon waiting to devour them, or are they going to find enlightenment and God? Who's living in the basement? Usually, it's both, right? The devil lives with
Right.
God, and the devil is the representation of the fears. So it's all about how are you going to allow yourself to go into your fears and allow yourself to open up that Pandora box, because it's frightening. It is frightening.
Right.
So is past life regression a valid tool? Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
I was a past life regression therapist for
Right.
many years, and I've had many people regress, and they found answers that they couldn't have found any other place, because they allowed the veil to dissolve for a minute and see
Yeah.
something that is beyond this reality. By seeing that past life fear or occurrence that have happened to them, they were able to integrate that better. I'd like to mention that I wrote a book about past life, and
I'm so excited about this. I wrote so many questions. You wrote it already? Is it, and it's coming out in September, right?
so actually, yes, it will come out in September. I wrote this book probably 13 years ago. It came out less than 10 years ago
Oh,
in
this is
Israel.
one that you already published.
I did publish it in Israel
Okay.
in Hebrew,
Mhm.
and it was a bestseller. It's a really interesting book. It's all about this regression therapist. Well, I was a regression therapist at the time.
Uh-huh.
That she lives in Ojai. The book is situated in California, and she's looking for her past life lover. And so the whole book is her journey to find out A, why she's looking for him, and B, who she becomes through doing all those past lives to other people's. And you see through the book what
Yeah.
she's doing and how other
Wow.
people's are discovering their past and how it heals something very deep that they were carrying. So there are many different characters in the book that are going through their past life, and eventually she goes through her past life and sees why she's looking
That's
for him and the whole thing. So it's
that's
coming out in
incredible.
September. It's
So
called
you
The Spirit.
translated it?
Yes, yes, it's in
Uh-huh.
English now. It will be published in September. It's called The Spirit Seer, and I invite you to read that.
I'm so excited for it. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. I don't know. Back in 2019, I had this like out of body experience that I woke up from, and I ran to my computer and I started writing. And my story was about me, but it was like another character searching for her soulmate that she knows exists and that she's known in other lives, but that she doesn't know here in this reality. And I wrote that like I've been searching for that we've been searching for each other through all these lives. And then Guy came into my life, Galit, and I knew that I had written this about him and that we have connection, like some sort of past life connections. And I know that intuitively, if somebody were to want to kind of figure out if they have some sort of soul contract or soul connection with somebody, is that something astrology can show us, evolutionary
Sure.
astrology?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see it all the time. I do couples and families. I love doing families and couples because you see the connection. You see what they've done before. Because if somebody's planet sitting on your south node, you see that. So it depends which planets. Of course, if it's Saturn, hey, you've got some tough karma there to be worked on. If it's a Venus, hey, you've been sisters, lovers. Depends on the connection and the chart configuration, but yeah, you can see. And if you have hard aspects to somebody's planet with your nodes, it's very well possible. I do it all the time.
So speaking of just for a second, I just want everyone to know this because Galit is like I come to you for really major life things. You got me through my Saturn return. I would come to you when I was having issues with boyfriends back in the day, and then when Guy and I first started dating. I remember in the past I was like, am I supposed to be with one of these people? And you were so you're like, you know the answer, like you don't feel sure about anything, and it's kind of up to you. It's not like everything is written in stone. You get to choose in this life. That was interesting because those were all options and paths and ways I could have taken it. I didn't take any of them. And then I brought Guy's chart to you, and you just like were very confident about it. And you just gave me advice of like, yes, you've been through this before, and in past lives you've had issues with who wears the pants. I'll never forget, that's what you told me.
Did I say that?
You did, and it was the best. It was, I think we had only dated for maybe a few weeks when I came to you with his chart. It was the best advice ever because I was operating in the past from such masculine energy in my relationships and it didn't work well. Then Guy comes in and you gave me that, just that line stuck with me. And I was like, okay, I am the type to wear the pants in the relationship. Let this man lead me. And he led us all the way to the altar, all the way to just really, it was the best thing I could do. But it was so interesting to find out that we had these past life connections where we had played different roles with each other. And now we're here again playing another role.
But I thank you for sharing that. I forgot
Yeah.
that I said that at all. But
Yeah.
what I want to say is that dynamics repeat themselves. That means if we have spent some time in a past life with someone and we come and we meet them again in this life, we will repeat that wherever we left off. We will repeat that dynamic. That means that dynamic is coming back again, not to hunt us, but rather to be resolved. So the repeat allows us to see what's not working. And if it's
Yeah.
not working, hey, wake up. What do you need to do with that? How can you resolve it to make it work in a better way? Our
Mm.
soul wants to bring balance. The whole idea of the universe is to bring constant balance, but there is a push and pull constantly from, it's a physical law. We're constantly we live on axes between the dark and the light, between the yin and the yang. It's constantly on an axis. And our job is to bring things into the middle, more integration and self actualization. That's the basic of it.
That's beautiful. And yeah, exactly. You always taught me that too, that the soul is constantly seeking balance. And it's going to do that. I think it's going to bring people into our lives and situations into our lives in order to always find that balance. And sometimes that might be a challenge, right? So taking us back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that it's all happening for us. And I got a lot of questions from my listeners and from the community, Galit, and some of those questions were like, why is this and this happening to me when I'm a good person, when I have a good heart? And I think that evolutionary astrology can speak to that, right?
It's yeah. The soul doesn't judge us if we have a good heart or a bad heart. I don't think anybody is really bad. Some people are doing really bad things and really bad actions, and I'm definitely condoning that. And it's not okay whatsoever. But probably these people have been programmed with such a painful condition in their childhood, we cannot even understand their mindset to be able to do horrific things. Maybe they're going to pay for it. We're not sure how karma works forward, right? And those people that are good people and they're saying, why is this happening to me? This is a little bit of a victimhood narrative. And I want to talk a little bit about the victimhood narrative that
Yeah.
is coming out very loud and clear in the past few years on the planet, because some of us have felt that on the grand scheme of things, we're coming out of the Pisces age and moving into the age of Aquarius. The Pisces age was about giving our power away to other people that will lead and take that power, and they will be the few. So it started in Jesus' time. And what happened was that we gave our ability to connect with God to the priests, to the rabbis, to other intermediate personalities that would pretend that they and only they have the power to have you talk to God. And we gave the
The
power
middleman.
to the middlemen, right? We gave the power to governments. We gave the power to other people to control us, the masses, as if we are victims that needs to be led. Right now, part of the age of Aquarius, and we're just beginning, and every age takes about 2,000 years. So that's a long time. We're just in the beginning, is to shift that concept that we need a middleman to work for us and do things for us, and we are helpless victims. We're not. We're not. We're taking our power back to ourselves, and we are redefining who we are as humans, as species, but also as personalities, as individuals. And that's part of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing so much revolution on the planet. And that's part of the revolution. Everybody wants to be heard, to say what they have to say, as long as we don't hurt other people. That is really the test. And we're
Yeah.
learning to collaborate. We don't know how to collaborate because we live in a very competitive society and competitive mindset at the moment. But this needs to be shifted and changed as well. So we're moving into cooperation, to collaboration, through community. Those are the spearheads of what we're learning. And we're coming from the victimhood narrative in a sense of giving the power away. I hope that gives a bigger perspective
Totally.
to
Yeah,
what's going on.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And I've been feeling it. I've been completely feeling into this intuitively. This desire for people want to be heard in a much more authentic, you said authenticity earlier, in a much more authentic way. We're tired of being filtered. We're tired of being a part of, the masses. We want to show up in a very, very unique and genuine way. I think people are also tired of really that individualistic way that society has been set up, and we are craving more community. We are craving more collaboration. I think that we're going to find that everybody can win when we collaborate and when we don't live in a just completely individualistic, competitive way, and that we can do better than ever before.
exactly. And I think we're learning, for example, from the model of the bees and the ants, that those are colonies that are collaborating, and very successfully so, unless we disturb them, but very successfully so, by creating that competitive capitalistic society that we are living in right now. We have created separatedness and one against each other. We have created friction. But now we're understanding that, and your generation especially understands it better. The need to collaborate would lead to greater expansion and to the benefit of everybody, for the greater good of all, in all kind of technology, life expectancy, health, in whatever it is that we want to expand our life on earth. It's a new thought on the planet that is
Yeah.
only growing and will keep on growing.
That's beautiful. I'm excited to see how that happens.
Me too.
It made me start thinking about, this was my train of thought right now. So I was thinking, yeah, I have some friends, like right now I'm very much in this whole pregnancy, becoming a new mom state of mind. And I'm really observing. I had a friend that I didn't know had struggled a lot through her pregnancy because she felt so alone. She just shared this with me now. I had no idea about this. I feel like there's women like me where I sought out community, and I have like this group on WhatsApp with these natural moms. I just see how much more supported and empowered I feel having a community and having people who are, sharing resources and support, and how important that is. And we're not doing it in the way that our ancestors might have done it, where we're all meeting around the village well. We're doing it through WhatsApp, but it's so important. And that thought led me to a question that listeners sent in, which you kind of talked about a little bit, but they specifically wanted to know how to navigate a child-parent karmic relationship.
Hmm.
Is that something you want to talk about?
Sure, it's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Children, parents, some children come to parents, and there is a great synergy between the qualities of the child and the qualities of the parent. But some children come, and there is a great friction. And that friction leads to many painful experiences. And those experiences are an opportunity for growth. But is it an easy path? No. It's going to be very challenging. Is it going to be
Yeah.
painful? 100% it will. Is there an opportunity to grow for both sides? Yes, it's just not easy. But within that dynamics of the challenging dynamics, it suits both the parent and the child in places where that parent and that child have probably part of that dynamic already within self. We can never experience something that is not already a part of ourself, a part of a reflection. But that child constantly is a trigger to an undeveloped or unresolved part of the parent. And that parent is a trigger to an unresolved and undeveloped part of the child. So it's sort of a learning experience, or it is a learning experience. It's just not a pleasant one, not a
No.
flowing one. But is it a good one eventually? Hopefully, if we learn
Yeah.
from it.
And do you think that we make these decisions before we come into this body? That we, get together as souls and we're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to reflect this back to you, and you're going to do this. And we choose each other, all these different roles.
We
Yeah.
do. We all incarnate within a group of souls that is familiar to us. We belong to that group of souls and we play different parts. Some souls are in the immediate circle around us and some are in the around us a little bit further. We usually stick to those kind of vibrational affinity or familiarity with those kind of souls. Yes.
I think something that I definitely chose the perfect triggers in my own family for my evolution. That's for sure. Ongoing with my brother for the rest of my life, parents, everything. I think it was Ram Dass that said, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family, right? And that's what I always do to keep my ego in check. Like, oh, you think you know everything? Go spend some time with Itai.
Hey, remember, Leeor, I wanted to bring it up when we talked about the past life regression. Remember that I came to you?
That was going to be the next sentence out of my mouth.
Okay, sorry.
Literally. So what I was going to say is something that really, really helped me is, yes, I did a past life regression therapy with Galit. For everybody that doesn't know that, I don't know if I've talked about this on my email list. We did one. You came over right before I was leaving to Sedona. I'm totally open to these things, but I didn't realize how cool it would be. And it was really cool. I'd always wanted to do past life regression. And it just never, I would reach out to therapists and it didn't work out. And then one day I talked to you and you're like, I do this. I was like, what? Let's do it. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it explained a lot of my relationship with him, didn't it?
Right. Yeah.
And I think it brought some healing and some understanding and a lot more patience for me. It's just a constant reminder of like, we've been through this for lifetimes. Let's kind of heal it, this karmic situation this time so that we can have a more fun setup next time. And we have a fun setup. He's my best friend, my brother, but we trigger.
Of course.
But we trigger each other.
Yeah. And those triggers are there. Actually, it's a big teacher, those triggers, but it's so uncomfortable. It's so painful sometimes. Yeah. I hear
wow. It can get really bad. Do you think, this is another question that somebody asked, do you think when somebody's realizing that they have these triggers and that maybe it's a parent or a child or a family member that's triggering them this way, is there a point where, because I'd like to think, we made these decisions. They're going to be difficult, but for some people, they might be so difficult that it's almost dangerous. Is there a point where the only answer is to get rid of this connection in this life? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I see it. So when it gets dangerous or where it's, I'll give you an example. I had this person, it was a man, he was abused by his father and he had to disconnect the relationship with his father, which was, he saved his life. He was ridden with guilt because after all, it is his father. He gave him life. After much long and necessary therapy, the man understood that by disconnecting the relationship with his father, A, he saved his life, B, he actually owned his power and he became who he is because he had to be a man without that relationship with someone that he can lean on, where he couldn't lean on his father because his father wasn't there. Actually, the father played a part, such a harsh, painful part, making his son a better human.
Yes.
Just by allowing his son to disconnect from him or creating that disconnection. Not that I approve of the father's behavior, right? Mm-hmm. But in a sense, it did help that man become better in his life. So sometimes the answer is not the pretty one that we like to hear. It's not going to be an amicable integration and understanding and beautiful love. Sometimes it's not going to be that, but it will serve a purpose.
I think that's so beautiful, though, and so empowering for so many people, because when we talk about soul contracts and how we reincarnate with these soul groups, I think that some people are like, well, I was abused by this person or this person hurt me so badly. Am I supposed to work it out with them? But no. I feel like what I hear you saying is that sometimes ending that energetic connection is the karmic reparation or whatever it is that person needed to do in this lifetime. The other soul also needed to be excommunicated from this person's life, and that's for their evolution, right?
Right. Well, it's a boundary for that soul. That abuser needs to be listening to some harsh boundaries. You can't do that anymore, right? That's a lesson for the other soul. So it's very intricate. It's very complex. There is no one size fits all formula for that. it's all such individualistic relationships, and it's all delicate.
I have just a couple more questions before I let you go, my love. I could talk to you forever, though. You know that. I want to know if exploring your own past lives has affected your journey and the way that you live your life.
It's a good question. Yeah, I know some of my lives. I can't say that I explored all of them, I guess. I know some, not as glamorous and as beautiful as I would like them to be. Some of them are really tough.
Not Cleopatra? You weren't Cleopatra like
No,
everyone
I
is?
wasn't anything exceptional. But I was a spiritual person at a few lifetimes, of course. It comes with the territory, I guess. What it really helped me, some of those lives, is understand that we're not married to our particular sex choice or archetypal choice in this life. That means we come as female and male in different lifetimes. And that was something to be understood on a deeper level, that sometimes we play different roles. So that enhanced my understanding and capability of understanding what does it mean to play each of those roles, and why sometimes people come in this body, but they remember other lives of being the different archetype, the opposite archetype, and they choose it, they get mixed up with emotions. So that was a big one. Yeah, sometimes some darkness or some unresolved aggression from other lives that I still harbor. Yeah, things like that. It's always opening the perspective.
Totally. And looking even deeper. What do you do when things like this come up for you? Are there any practices or tools, or how do you handle that?
Still working on it, Leeor. Doesn't matter how old you are. There's still deeper layers in the basement to be worked on.
Totally. So we're not trying to become enlightened and just transcend this body and escape reincarnation, where you have to keep working?
I don't know if I can escape this one. Maybe not the next life, maybe in 10 lives. I don't know. Of course, we all are trying to do that. I find that life on Earth is really enjoyable. Hey, I've been through a lot of pain in my life. Don't get me wrong. My life was anything but perfect, but I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the physicality. I enjoy the good food and the connections and the expansion. I enjoy this life. So I'm not sure I'm giving up on the physicality next life.
Yeah.
But I think we're coming into, as we expand our consciousness as humans, we are learning more and more tools and modalities to integrate all those lessons and integrate all those parts of ourselves. At least for me, at this particular stage in my development, I realized that I have many voices within myself, and I have many parts that are playing those voices. Some of those voices I'm in control. I handle pretty good. Some of those are still needing some work. So I'm working on them, whether it's therapy, past life, whether it's Qigong or other modalities, fascia maneuvers, whatever it is that you want to do. And of course, those modalities are changing as time goes by, because we discover different things, herbs, vitamins, whatever, talking, conversing, becoming. So we are on this beautiful trajectory of expansion and learning. And as new modalities and tools are coming about, I suggest that you try them. Your listening people will try new modalities. And don't forget to change, because sometimes people say, oh, I've been 15 years with the same therapist. That's not okay. Change. Do something else. Bring some fresh air. Do something new. Try different ways to go about issues. And then you'll get a more holistic view and possibilities to heal yourself on deeper levels.
It's beautiful. I had more community questions, but I feel like you already answered all of them through your beautiful wisdom. I'm so inspired by the last little bit of our conversation, because it just reminds me how lucky we are to be in this physical incarnation right now on this time of the planet, with all these changes happening, being aware of this, being aware of our karma and our past lives, and that we chose to be here, and that we chose these soul contracts, and that even if it feels really hard, at the end of our lives, we're most likely going to leave our body, go to wherever we end up, and we're going to say, yes, I want to do this again. Let's go again. Back to physicality.
100% true. Yes.
Thank you, my love. I want to know, can you tell us the book is coming out in September? Where will people be able to get it? And also, what are you working on right now? What are you offering right now?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so the book is coming out in September. It will be on Amazon and on Kindle, of course. A link would be on my website, astrologydome.com. And I do have an Instagram, a very busy Instagram that I love so much, Astrology Dome, of course. I am working on a new book, of course. That's going to be a book for astrology. And I love beginners astrology. I want everybody on the planet to know
To
at
learn
least beginners
astrology.
astrology, that basic level that tells you who you are, why you're here, what you're good at, what you're not good at,
Yeah.
what is that evolutionary trajectory for you. So it's easier. So we're not in the fog. We're not searching so much, but we know more. So that's my next project.
I can't wait for that.
I'm offering beginners courses for astrology, intermediate courses for astrology, and astrology readings. So I am the astrologer. Yes. The answers are in the stars.
People are always asking me about astrologers. I always send them to you all the time. I'm realizing like where I am in my life right now. I'm so busy with so much. I found out I'm pregnant and then I decided, oh, I have to do everything in the next 9 months. Absolutely everything. Let's launch the new season. Let's do alchemy. Let's do all this stuff. And
Sure.
I think that what I'm remembering now as we get to connect again is that I really want to check in with you and get a reading. So I'm going to treat myself to that very soon and come talk to you. I love you. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Thank you for answering our questions. Anything else you want to say before we go?
First of all, I love you, Leeor, and I'm so happy for you. And thank you for this opportunity to bring me again here. It's not an easy journey, but love yourself. I think that's the answer. Love and respect yourself for everybody.
Always.
And do
always.
the work. Yeah. That's
Aho, amen. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for spending time with us today. I will have Galit's information, all the links, all the cool stuff in the description, both on YouTube and on the podcast. Thank you again a million times. And as always, remember to honor the universe inside of you.